There's nothing quite as gripping as a battle of wits, two characters going head to head in a mental chess game. Battle of Wits scenes push heroes to their limits, forcing them to think quick on their feet, keep their heads, and showcase their resourcefulness. If you've watched any of the videos in my story structure series, you'll know that I typically highlight a film and break down specific story structure elements at play in a particular scene. In this video, I thought I'd do something a little different. Compare two scenes from two completely different stories that share a similar plot structure, highlighting the differences and similarities at play. So in today's 2-for-1 special, we'll be looking at two Battle of Wits scenes, one from The Princess Bride and the other from the Better Call Saul episode Chicanery. Spoiler warning for both. In examining the elements of a great Battle of Wits scene, it's impossible to get more clear-cut than the iocane powder sequence from Princess Bride. So we'll start by breaking down this scene, examining these 6 key elements: stakes of the game, strength of opponent, rules of engagement, execution of strategies, the back and forth, and conclusion. I recognize there are some who haven't seen Princess Bride, and to that I say,
Inconceivable!
If you happen to be one of these unfortunate souls, here's a quick setup of the scene. Our hero, Wesley, is in pursuit of the kidnapped princess Buttercup. After her kidnapper, Vicini, threatens to kill her, Wesley challenges Vicini to a battle of wits. The winner will leave with Buttercup, the loser will die. Now let's break this scene down. For a battle of wits to be gripping and effective, there must be high stakes involved. The opening of this scene immediately establishes the stakes as life and death, both for Wesley and Buttercup, so we're off to a good start. There's an old expression in writing: Batman is only as good as his Joker. The idea here is that a hero must have a formidable antagonist to bring out their true heroism. For a battle of wits to truly feel like a battle and not just a hero punching downward, the villain must be established as an effective threat who fully possesses the ability to outwit the hero. Although Vicini is something of a comedic villain with an inflated view of his own intelligence, we still recognize him as crafty, masterminding Buttercup's kidnapping and manipulating his henchmen to do his bidding.
Do you want me to send you back to where you were? Unemployed in Greenland?
The threat of Vicini exists in his likelihood to cheat or play dirty rather than to straight up outwit Wesley. A Battle of Wits scene establishes its identity through its unique rules of engagement. This is the unique method in which our hero and villain square off to determine who is intellectually superior. Over time, the go-to method for a scene like this has been for the hero and villain to play chess. Princess Bride establishes its identity beautifully with something unique.
What you do not smell is called iocane powder. It is odorless, tasteless, dissolves instantly in liquid, and is among the more deadly poisons known to man.
The genius of this entire scene lies in its simplicity. Because Princess Bride is a story within a story, there's a frank openness in keeping with the tone. Things are stated plainly rather than inferred. The poison in the wine glass is the perfect game for this story, a chess match consisting of just one move. It's during the execution of strategies when heroes and villains reveal their true character. Princess Bride explores this with a touch of comedic genius. Vicini explains how he will use his great intellect to deduce where the poison is, presenting himself as a master of thought who surpasses the greatest philosophers.
Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Yes?
Morons.
He then pulls the classic look over there trick, and while Wesley is looking away, switches their glasses, revealing himself as just a crafty cheater. Throughout the battle, Wesley's specific strategy is kept hidden from us. This is a deliberate writing technique often presented in Battle of Wits scenes. By keeping part of the hero's strategy held back from the audience, it lends an air of intelligence and resourcefulness to the hero, suggesting that they know something we don't. The back and forth is a crucial element of Battle of Wits scenes. If this truly is a battle, there should be an ebb and flow, moments where it feels like the hero is winning, and moments when the villain appears to be winning. Most importantly, there should be a moment when it seems the villain has won outright, that they've delivered the death blow to our hero. This is what we see in the moment when Vicini switches the glasses. The fact that something has happened that our hero seems unaware of gives the audience that sense of, oh no. It's only when Vicini falls over dead in the midst of triumphant laughter that we become aware of our hero's hidden strategy mentioned earlier.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line!
The most important aspect of Battle of Wits scenes is that audiences come away with the firm conviction that our hero outsmarted the villain, not that the villain made a stupid blunder or that the hero simply got lucky. We want to see the hero succeed through resourcefulness, not luck. Imagine if this scene ended with Wesley saying, "Phew, glad he picked the cup with the poison." Fortunately, since Princess Bride was written by the brilliant William Goldman, we aren't subjected to such sloppy writing. Instead, we're given the genius and hilarious reveal that both glasses contained iocane powder, a poison Wesley is immune to. The brilliance of this reveal is that it completely recontextualizes the scene. The true Battle of Wits centered not around chance or deduction, but in Wesley duping his opponent into playing a game he couldn't win. What makes the iocane powder scene the go-to when explaining the structure of a Battle of Wits scene is the fact that it identifies itself as a Battle of Wits scene. From the start, the stakes, rules, and strategies are not inferred, they're spelled out plainly. Wesley and Vizzini verbally agree to life and death terms. Wesley explains the rules of the game. Vizzini explains exactly how he intends to defeat Wesley, and the back and forth and conclusion are equally clear-cut. Now, what happens when we take this clear-cut meat and potato structure and add a few layers of depth and complexity? Well, we get something very much like the courtroom scene from Better Call Saul's Chicanery. In this scene, protagonist Jimmy McGill is appealing before the state bar in an attempt to keep his law license from being revoked, while his older brother, Chuck, takes the stand to testify against him. This conflict between brothers culminates in a brilliant courtroom battle of wits. Now that we understand the structure of a Battle of Wits scene, let's take the same elements we looked at in Princess Bride and see how they play out in a legal drama. The stakes of this scene should be clear from the outline: Jimmy's legal career. If he loses his appeal, he can no longer practice law. In his great course, How to Write Best-Selling Fiction, author James Scott Bell states that the stakes of a conflict should always be life and death. In Princess Bride, we got to see this play out literally, with Wesley and Vizzini literally playing to the death. In Chicanery, we get to see a different type of life and death struggle playing out as protagonist Jimmy faces the potential death of his career. For the stakes of a battle to matter, all that is necessary is the establishment of effect on protagonist. For Jimmy, who spent the early part of his life as a con man, practicing law is his shot at redemption, his path to an honest life. He's not facing down just the death of his career, but the death of redemption, the death of an honest life. When considering strength of opponent in this scene, we find ourselves very much in a David versus Goliath situation. Chuck is established throughout the series as a brilliant and accomplished lawyer. The fact that he's testifying against Jimmy makes this an incredibly difficult battle of wits for our protagonist, since the battle is taking place in an arena where his opponent has home field advantage, the courtroom. Unlike Vizzini, Chuck isn't a comedic threat, he's a deadly serious one. A powerful, bitter man who is jealous of his younger brother and wants to see him banned from a profession Chuck doesn't believe he's worthy of. In Princess Bride, our hero and villain shared the same goal, the princess. Here, our protagonist and antagonist goals couldn't be more opposite from each other. Jimmy wants to keep his license, Chuck wants to see him disbarred. Their methods for achieving their goals are the same, however. Each brother is looking to discredit the other. As they execute their strategies, we get to see the differences in their personalities and character come to the forefront. Chuck's entire identity is wrapped up in the law, so it's no surprise that his strategy reflects this, engaging in the battle of wits with facts, evidence, and clearly thought out arguments. Jimmy, conversely, goes back to his roots, crafting gimmicky con-man ploys to trip up his brother. Chuck and Jimmy's differing strategies clash on a single gambit. Throughout Better Call Saul, it's established that Chuck suffers from a severe aversion to electricity, preventing him from being able to use or even be around electronics without suffering extreme discomfort. Jimmy's strategy centers around proving that Chuck's condition is psychosomatic rather than physiological, undermining Chuck's credibility as a witness. Jimmy questions Chuck on the nature of his condition, asking whether he can sense and experience discomfort from electronics within a few feet of him. When Chuck states that he can, Jimmy produces a cell phone from his pocket, seemingly proving Chuck's condition psychosomatic since he didn't sense the phone's presence. Chuck counters by removing the back of the phone, revealing that the battery has been removed and pulling the rug from beneath Jimmy's gambit. This is the back and forth we discussed earlier, the ebb and flow of the battle that creates uncertainty in the audience. This is just like the moment Vizzini switches the glasses, that moment in the battle when it seems the protagonist is truly going to lose. But just like Wesley, Jimmy has a hidden bit of strategy. After Chuck's revelation of the missing battery, Jimmy makes a surprise reveal of his own.
Could you reach into your breast pocket and tell me what's there?
After the revelation of the battery, Chuck unravels on the stand, accusing Jimmy of stealing from their parents and revealing his true character, petty, bitter, and jealous. An interesting aspect about this scene centers around the battery and Chuck's condition. Whether Chuck's condition truly is physiological or psychosomatic is really beside the point. Just like Wesley, Jimmy concealed the true nature of the battle. It wasn't about whether Chuck was truly allergic to electricity. It was about revealing Chuck's true nature and motivations to the bar committee. In comparing Princess Bride and Better Call Saul, we can see how vastly different stories can share the same basic structure. For a Battle of Wits scene to be effective, we just need well-established stakes, formidable opponents, clearly established strategies, and an engaging back and forth between protagonist and antagonist.
But it's so simple.
So I hope this helps. Comment below with your favorite Battle of Wits scene and subscribe for more writing tips.